Sit back, relax. You're listening to the Brogcast. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Brogcast. Funny thing about about this episode, this is not the first take. In fact, I had a almost a 30-minute take of the broadcast, and what happened was I had my fill light set to blue light. So my fill light that I use, the ring fill light that I use to use for lighting for the camera, it has three settings. It has a blue light setting, a kind of a hybrid between blue light and yellow light, and then yellow light. It was on the blue light setting, and I didn't realize it until I was 30 minutes in, and I just got like this. It was almost like a migraine or something. I just kind of like shut down. I was like, oh, my eyes. And so I had to stop. And originally, I was gonna do it the next day, but inspiration struck at 12:30 at night. So yeah. Hopefully I won't crash out 30 minutes into this podcast. Just like the previous episode, this is going to be question based. I asked an AI to give me some more questions, and it's kind of funny because when I did, it gave me like three questions that I already answered in the last episode, even though I said give me more questions. I use the Snapchat AI, so it's less competent, but it was just kind of funny how it did that. So I have about 30 questions right here. The reason why I have so many questions is because I want the broadcast to run a little bit longer. To me, the way I feel about podcasts is a podcast is supposed to be at least 30 minutes long and above. My podcasts have been 15, 20 minutes. I did have one podcast that went to 30 minutes, but it's mainly been, I'd say on average, like 20 minutes long, and I want to kind of make it go longer. All right, the first question is, what is your favorite way to unwind after a long day? Music all the way, man. Whether it's bumping the turntable over here, or putting on some headphones, or playing music myself with drumming, or doing a stupid comedy rap, whatever it is, music wise, I'm down for it. That helps me unwind. That is like the number one thing that helps me unwind. Another thing is maybe I'll pair it with some meditation, or do a workout afterwards, or maybe binge watch the Trailer Park Boys. For those of you who know me, I'm obsessed with that series. So I'll watch Trailer Park Boys or pro wrestling. That's another one of my obsessions to watch. So yeah, I have a lot of ways to unwind, but number one and my first go-to for winding down is music. Next question is, what is the weirdest food combination that you enjoy? So most foods that I eat are probably considered palatable by the majority of the population, but this one combination isn't isn't gross or anything. I don't think to most people it's just unusual. So, um, an unusual combination for me is graham crackers and milk. That is like my sweet treat. People associate milk with cookies usually, but with graham crackers, it's really good. One piece of advice though is graham crackers get soft really easy in milk, and I mean all it takes is 1 second. If you leave that graham cracker in there for more than 1 second, it's mush. It's disintegrated. It's done. So for those of you out there who want to try this, dunk that graham cracker in there for 1 second and pull it out, and it's perfect. Any longer than that, like I said, it's done. It's disintegrating. Uh, Next question is, what's a song that always puts you in a good mood? My favorite song of all time is "You Dropped a Bomb on Me" by the Gap Band. Everything from the bass line to the rhythm to the synth part. I talked about this in another episode, but it's just I can't get enough of that song. It is so catchy and will definitely turn your frown upside down. I had this song in my Spotify Wrapped 2 years in a row, and I've never had that happen before. I've had songs, I've had the same songs come in the Spotify Wrapped year after year. That happens, but never at number one. That was definitely a first. I highly recommend this song. I actually have this song on 45, a 45 RPM record, and that is one of my favorite records to bump. You Dropped a Bomb on Me by the Gap Band. The next question is, what is the best piece of advice you've ever received? So, the best piece of advice I've ever received that was very moving and very uplifting and really gave me a boost was at a Christmas family gathering. I think I was 25 at the time, and at this time of my life, I was unemployed. I think I just lost my job like a month before, and I was really feeling down on myself, and had this feeling that I wasn't going to get anywhere in life, and it was too late. It's so funny being at 25 thinking I was too old to pursue my dreams. It's crazy because I'm 26 now and I'm almost 27, and like looking back, I'm like that's still super young, and I'm still young to this day. I'm still young right now, but thinking thinking back at that, like that's insane. Thinking at 25 that I was too old to to succeed in life is nuts. But anyway, this family member at this Christmas family gathering said what's up to me, and we were talking, and he said, "Jonathan, you are young, and you have a lot of potential, and I know you're going to succeed in life." And that was just it was a weight off my shoulders, just kind of because for that for that month or so after I lost my job, I was feeling really down on myself, and I basically thought I wasn't shit. And when that family member told me that, it just changed my life. I still think about it to this day. In fact, ever since that time, I've gone through some stuff, but I've never felt down on myself since that moment. Sometimes it's those little things that people say that really uh, change the trajectory of your life, and that was it right there. That meant a lot to me and really gave me a boost. This next question is, if you could have dinner with three people, dead or alive, who would they be? I love how this question is phrased because it is perfect. I love how the AI phrased this question because there are exactly three people that I would love to have dinner with, and they are alive and well. They are hosts of the Snark Tank podcast, Derek Blackman, Tom Sweeney, and Chris Raygun. They have a podcast, and I love that podcast so much because it reminds me of me and my friends, the way that we goof around, the way that we talk about, current events and just riff on stuff. I feel like I would fit in well with those guys, and having a dinner with them would be amazing. All right, next question is, what is a book that has significantly impacted your life? So since day one, I've never been a book reader. When I was a kid, I would maybe read some like comic book style books. I think they call them oh, what do they call those? Graphic novels, yeah. I liked books like that here and there, but ever since I was a kid, I've never really been into books unless it was a book for like a book report. So I've never really read books outside of that, but uh, so I can't think of a book that's impacted me, but one book that I related a lot to, which good job, Jonathan. You don't even know the name of the book, but the author of the book is from my hometown, and this particular book he based his life on events in his life. Um, so reading that book, I was like, because there were a lot of things that happened in my hometown that I remembered, a lot of different like businesses and events and festivities that we did in my hometown. I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, I know this. I know that. And I related a lot to that book, and I thought it was really cool that the author became kind of famous. I thought that was super cool, and so I related a lot to that book, whatever whatever book that was. That book I read in English 11 class. There was a book report on it, and then we watched the movie based on it. I can't remember the name of the movie either. Once again, good job, Jonathan. Yeah, super prepared for this episode. I'm gonna take a sip of water here. Yeah, like I said, this is gonna be a very a much longer podcast, so I gotta keep the system flowing good. All right, next question is, what is a small thing that always makes you happy? Now, I'm a simple guy. It doesn't take much to make me happy. I love the simple things. In fact, I like the simple things more than I do the big things. The simple things in life mean a lot more to me than the big things. And so, if I had to narrow it down to one, this actually happened a little bit ago. So my computer is running out of disk space. I've had it for almost 3 years, and in that time, I've accumulated a lot of clutter and a lot of files I don't need. So I went into my camera roll, and this was the perfect folder to do this because my camera roll is full of unused takes and full raw broadcast episodes and any pretty much any video that I used my webcam with. And I was like, okay, this is the perfect folder because there is no, like, all of my finished products are in a different folder. And so I don't need this raw stuff. I really don't. So I control A, selected all of it, and just sent it to the recycle bin. And it was funny because it kind of froze for a second. It just said, working on it. The window did. It was like, working on it. And then it was stuck there. And I was like, okay, it's glitching out, but more than likely all those files are in the recycle bin. So I X'd that out, went to the recycle bin and emptied it, and boom. Uh, I still have a lot more clutter to clear out. I think the main reason why my disk space is so full is because I have a lot of games on here. I have like 5 big games that a couple of them I might delete just because I haven't been really into gaming recently. I think I think a big reason why is because, like you guys saw in that one video when I was doing my drum cover, my computer completely blue screened, and so ever since then I've been kind of gun shy of playing a game because I'm afraid that my computer's gonna blue screen. But even when I do play games, I mainly just stick to Madden and Tekken, and I have a few other games on here besides that I don't really play. I have NBA 2K14, which I've had. Well, I haven't had it since I was a teenager, but I've had it on my Steam account since I was a teenager. So I kind of download it. I download it for like the nostalgic purpose of it, but I never really play it. Like, I'm not really into it. Plus, well, actually, another big reason why I don't play it is because it uses that outdated NBA online account, which is completely defunct. But the thing is, each time you open the game, you have to enter your account info for it. And you can't because the server is non existent now. It's an old ass game. So, actually, yeah, that's the reason why I've given up on playing it and need to delete it, is because it's unplayable. And that's kind of an annoying thing I've noticed with games recently. You have to have an account for pretty much for a good chunk of games, and I feel like it shouldn't be that way. I feel like you should be able to play offline completely and play local if you want to. Um, but that's just how the game business is nowadays, and that's just how it is. But it's annoying. So I'll probably delete a couple games to free up my disk space. Oh man, I went on a huge tangent, didn't I, off this question? So a simple thing that made me happy was decluttering my computer somewhat. So the next question is, if you could change one thing about the world, what would it be? So this is going to be a super cliche answer, but I feel like it would solve a lot of the world's problems, and that would be greed. Getting rid of greed. If I had the power to get rid of greed, I would absolutely do it. From the institutions to the people to the politics of it, there is so much greed involved in this world, and I feel like a lot of our problems would be solved if we just got rid of it. There's a huge list of things that we need to get rid of to to completely fix the systemic, problems, but I feel like getting rid of greed would fix a lot of it. All right, next question is what movie could you watch over and over again? So, I talked about this movie in one of my early Brogcast episodes, but the movie that I could watch over and over again is Beverly Hills Ninja, and I think they took it off of Netflix, so I'll have to find it somewhere else. But I could watch that movie over and over and over again. It is such a goofy, stupid comedy. It has Chris Farley and then Chris Rock makes an appearance in it, and it's basically, I'm not gonna spoil the whole movie, but essentially Chris Farley plays this ninja and tries to become a ninja master, and then gets into all these shenanigans. It's a great goofy stupid humor movie, and that's kind of my genre when it comes to watching stuff. Like that's a reason why I'm into Trailer Park Boys, is because of all that goofy humor that's into it and just all the crazy shenanigans that they get into. It's nuts. So yeah, Beverly Hills Ninja is that movie for me. Next question is, if you could have any animal as a pet, what would it be? Now, this answer is, people are gonna think that I'm insane for answering it like this. Uh, the pet that I would want to have, I'm a big animal person, so that like there's a long list of animals that I would love to have as a pet. But I would say kind of an exotic animal, kind of a different animal that most people don't have as a pet would be the cheetah. Um, I thought that cheetahs were aggressive towards humans, and like most felines, big felines, wild felines, saw us as food, but they really don't see us as food. From what I've gathered on my research, they are pretty calm towards humans. They purr a little bit like cats. They meow like cats. Um, they're not super cuddly like a house cat would be. They're not that domesticated, but they can kind of be your friend, and they won't eat you alive. There is a YouTube channel that I used to watch. I don't know why it's not in my algorithm anymore. Maybe they just thought that I wasn't interested in watching it, but I kind of was. So this person had a caracal as a pet, and a caracal is a lot like a mountain lion, but it's a little bit bigger and it's got bigger teeth. And to me, it's a lot more scary looking. It is a lot more intimidating. Anytime I watch those videos, I get some sort of like secondhand anxiety because I can just see through the eyes of that thing like it's gonna eat me. My primal instincts are kicking in anytime I see those videos, and I've done research on caracals, and they are not suitable for pets. They are not pets. They see humans as food, and they're not friendly towards humans at all. I'm surprised this pet owner of this caracal hasn't gotten eaten alive yet. And I've seen a couple videos where it's gotten very, very close. There's a video where this caracal owner scares it unintentionally. He or she comes around the corner with the camera, and the caracal's on the other side, and the caracal goes like almost jumps on that on whoever's running the camera, and yeah, it's scary. It's kind of funny because that caracal gets along with the house cats. This pet owner also has, domesticated house cats in the videos, and that caracal gets along with them. But whenever the owner with the camera comes up, it hisses and it growls, and it wants to eat its human alive so badly. Like I can just tell. And in most places, owning a caracal is illegal. And in the places that it is legal, you have to have it enclosed. And I've seen these videos of this pet owner and his caracal. It's not enclosed. It's just roaming the property, roaming like the neighborhood. And I'm like, yo, that thing is gonna eat, probably eat a child. Like that's not good. That's not good at all. But so to answer that question, it'd be cool to have a cheetah. Um, kind of a different pet. It'd be kind of cool. All right, next question is, What is a goal you're currently working towards? So, um, there's a few goals that I've been working towards. The first two are semi unrealistic because they're insanely difficult to go towards. One is a goal that I've been chasing for 15 years, and that is making a living being a musician. It's a tough gig. I know some of the most talented people who, no matter how hard they try, they've gotten, they've gone places, but they've never gotten to the top like they should have. And seeing that is like, oh, it's tough because you see how hard it is to get to the top of the music business. And so, um, I'm still headed towards it. I'm not stopping. I'm not gonna stop playing music, and I'm not gonna stop trying. But like I said, it's semi unrealistic because a very few percentage of people who are musicians make it that successful. And I'm not saying I need to be a complete superstar, but I would love to make a living being a musician. Like that's just the dream job for me. So that's one goal that I'm trying to work towards. The next one is becoming a voice actor or a radio broadcaster, kind of what I'm doing right now. I would love to have that as a job, but the the process to get to that, just like being a musician, is that's a tough gig because it's there's really no clear path to becoming a voice actor or a radio broadcaster. Um, I mean, you could try for a degree, but even after you get a degree, it's really for most jobs actually nowadays. After getting a degree, it's hard to get that job. Um, but a more attainable goal that I know I'm going to succeed in because I've done it before is weight loss and muscle building. The muscle building part I've never actually tried doing until recently, so that's a little bit harder. But I have lost a ton of weight before, and so I know how. And so I'm working towards that, working towards the weight loss, the muscle building, moderating the carbs, getting a lot of protein, um, sort of counting calories, but I'm mainly focusing on getting enough protein in and moderating the carbs. So no refined sugars. I haven't eaten bread in I don't know how long. I think the last time I had bread was at a restaurant a couple months ago. But at home, no, I don't eat bread. I don't eat bread. I have rice. Rice is a one of my main food sources, but I make sure I don't eat a lot of it. I eat maybe a cup, if that. Um, that's one of my main fuel sources. Same with potatoes. Um, I like the Yukon Gold potatoes, but I'm trying to stay away from candy and sugary soda and um, even like peanut butter. Like uh, I used to be kind of a peanut butter guy. I would eat it by the spoonful. In fact, I don't know why I did this, but a couple years back, I had this mini fridge in this room here, and I went to the store, and I don't know why, but I was craving peanut butter, so I went with the healthiest peanut butter out there, which peanut butter isn't super healthy, no matter what type you get, but there's this peanut butter called the Adams peanut butter, and it's super low in sugar. It's minimally processed. It's still processed, but essentially it's the healthiest peanut butter that you can get. And I ate in one night. I ate an entire jar of it. And I felt sick the next day. And I thought to myself, I'm never going to eat peanut butter again. And for a while, I did not eat peanut butter ever again. Um, but yeah, peanut butter has always been like my go to at night when I get cravings, is to go for peanut butter. And peanut butter is not the healthiest, but it's definitely better than like a candy bar or you know something like the cookies. Peanut butter is not the healthiest, but it's better. But I'm still trying to stay away from peanut butter. Trying to stay away from night snacking in general because that's a big problem of mine. I It's weird because I'm not hungry most of the day. Like I said, when I tried it, like I said, rice and potatoes are like a big um, energy source for me. I also have protein shakes and things like that, but I don't actually get hungry until like dinner time, and then at nighttime when I get up in the middle of the night and I want to binge on something. So yeah, it's a struggle. But I feel like if because I think I've gone, let's see, recently I went a week without midnight snacking. Um, so I feel like I could do that again and even longer. And I feel like, given the appetite that I have throughout the day, if I'm basically having, I don't know, like snack portions of potatoes and rice, and then having dinner, if I stop midnight snacking, that is gonna cut my calories tenfold. So I'm gonna really work on that. I've been doing a lot of weight training, um, and yeah, I've been going hard on the paint on that. I know for sure I can lose weight, and but I don't know about the, like, I've been getting stronger with the weightlifting, but I haven't seen like any tone differences in my muscles. Maybe I just got to give it more time, but I've been sticking to it. I've been sticking to the diet thing, sticking to the weight training thing, doing some more doing cardio too as well. Um, so yeah, that's a goal that I'm heading towards, and that is probably the most attainable out of all the ones that I'm um, going towards. All right, next is, what is a trend you don't understand? So, bro, a trend I don't understand is that anxiety song that samples Somebody That I Used to Know by Gautier. That song drives me insane. I don't understand the dance that goes with it. That song drives me up a wall. And when I first heard it, I was like, okay, this song's okay. But I have heard it pretty much every scroll. When I scroll through my reels and my YouTube shorts, when I scroll, it's like every other video. And makes me want to jump off a cliff. I don't understand the trend with this song at all. I prefer the Gautier version. All right, next question is, if you could instantly become an expert in any subject, what would it be? I would say math, because I suck at math, and I feel like uh, if I was a lot better at math and was an expert at math, it would help me with a lot of different things. Just because people who are good at math have a different brain mechanisms, if that makes sense. That's not a good word. Different way of thinking of things. It's more logical. And I feel like if I mapped my brain in a way that I was good at math and more logical, it would make things a lot simpler in my life, because I think a lot with my intuition and not so much logic, and that kind of makes things overwhelming. So if I had a more logic oriented brain, it would make things a lot easier. So the next question is, what is a place you've traveled to that everyone should visit? Uh, I think I mentioned this in one of my previous episodes, but I really don't travel much, and I probably should travel more. Uh, but one place, if you're in the Pacific Northwest, I would recommend going to see Hood River. Not only is it scenically beautiful, the uh, the river, the mountains, the skyline, all of that is beautiful, but the way you get to see it is through that drive. I think it's I-84. Take that. It is a long highway too. It's a long interstate. Take that all the way, and just, as you're driving down the road, just get a view of it. And if you want to, they have a couple like sightseeing spots on the side of the road, and you can take pictures. I've taken pictures. It is such a beautiful scene, and there's a couple cool like outlet shops out there too. If you guys are shopping fanatics, they got cool like outlets out there. But yeah, seeing Hood River was wow. Just seeing the scenery and all that, it was amazing. So I definitely recommend that you guys go out there. Next question is, what's a hobby you'd like to get into? Hobby that I'd like to get into? Hmm. Okay, so I kind of dabbled into this in a previous episode. I think it was the last episode, which is kind of related, is the singing thing. But I'm gonna answer this a little bit differently. Pick something else. A hobby that well, I don't know. I don't know if it's a hobby. It's more of a job. Um, but there's this guy on YouTube called the Hornet King, and he will go to these hornet infested places in a bee suit, so he doesn't get stung. And he literally takes a vacuum and he sucks up all the hornets. He'll take apart the nest, all that, and just and like, given my experience, my bad experiences with hornets and yellow jackets and all that, because I used to work in a bottle return center. That was one of my first jobs, and it was all the nasty soda and beer, and uh, people would put like they would spit tobacco in the beer bottles. All that nasty gunk was it was a heyday for those yellow jackets. And so I would like to kind of get into that firsthand and see what it's like, because I watched those videos recently and I'm just like, this is like oddly satisfying. And I think a lot of people who follow that channel feel the same way. Okay, next question is, if you could trade lives with someone for a day, who would it be? I'm going to kind of repeat this answer. I want to be a part of the Snark Tank podcast. I want to live my life through one of those guys. I guess it's all kind of the same. If they're in the podcast together, they're kind of experiencing the same thing. So yeah, I would like to live my life as one of the Snark Tank podcast hosts. It just looks like a good time, and they get paid to just goof off for 3 hours and have fun. And that's one thing that I would love to do. All right, what's a skill that you think everyone should learn? I think a skill that everyone should learn is probably social skills. Just getting to know people and connect with people, learning how to treat fellow human beings. I think that's something that everyone should know how to do. Next question is, what is the most interesting thing you've seen or heard this week? Oh, yeah, I guess this is interesting. Kind of annoying as well. But so I actually forgot to mention this this room's a mess. It's got drum equipment and a bunch of drum gear just everywhere. That is because me and my band had a gig the other day, and an interesting thing that that I experienced while we were playing. We were, I think we were 3 or 4 songs in, and this random lady in the bar gets up and she comes up to our singer and she's like, "Hey, my name's so and so. Do you guys know any country?" And we're like, "Okay, we've played 4 songs already, and it's already been established that we're an alternative rock band. We don't do country. We do a Johnny Cash song, but that's it. 99% of our set list is alternative rock." And so she was like, "Do you know any country?" And our singer's like, "No, unfortunately we don't. We're just doing our set list for right now." She's like, "Do you know any Alabama or like?" And she starts like listing these country artists, and I'm trying not to laugh, but I'm kind of like smirking and looking over at like the crowd because they know how ridiculous this is. And she was there for a few minutes just trying to negotiate and trying to get us to play country. We're just like, "No, man, we don't know country. We're an alternative rock band. That's not our thing." So that was interesting. It kind of happened at the gig before that, but this guy was chill. This guy was super chill. He's like, "Do you guys know any cake?" And we're like, "No, but we should probably, yeah, we'll look into that. We'll learn some cake because cake is alternative rock." He was super chill, but he wasn't there for minutes on end trying to negotiate and try to get us to play a song that we don't, play a genre we're not all about. He was chill, but this lady, she was persistent. She wanted us to play country. It's just like, no, we don't play country. Okay, here's another one. What's a personal challenge that you're proud of overcoming? This is gonna sound woe is me and kind of cliche because it's a problem we all pretty much have to go through. And I would say it was my getting over my last relationship. We were together for 5 years, and so I knew her a long time. That was my longest relationship. The longest relationship I had before that was 6 months. And so getting over that and just moving on, um, I feel like I moved on to a different level compared to previous relationships and previous breakups. This one, it just kind of, after I got over it, it just kind of was. Now it's kind of in the back of my head, and I don't think about it all the time. Whereas the last relationship, I thought about it all the time. But now it's just kind of like, it's there. If people ask me about it, I'll tell them. Like I don't obsess over it, and um, just moved on. And I feel like that's one of the hardest things a human being can go through, especially when you know that person for so long. Yeah, that was the hardest, well, one of the hardest things that I've ever had to go through, and I'm kind of proud of myself for getting over it and just kind of, I'm just kind of nonchalant about it now. I think that's a good thing. All right, next question is, what is something you're looking forward to? I'm looking forward to our band's next gig. I love playing with my homies. Like it's just the greatest time ever. And I talked about wanting to make a living as a musician, but if I can't, if I'm comfortable and I'm making enough money doing something else, and I love what I'm doing outside of music, if I can play music and because music is my passion, playing drums is my passion, and if I can continue to do that, um, and continue to be happy, like that's where it's at. I love playing with those guys. We have such great chemistry. Uh, all of us have raw talent, and I'll say that the best part of it is just playing with them, and getting to have fun with them, and also getting to feeling that crowd vibe. When because our very first gig was packed because we let everyone in our town know about it, and it was a local spot. We were at this lodge, and there was no seating room at that point. There were so many people, and feeling that energy with that crowd is just a next level feeling that it's hard to explain. But I love that crowd feeling, and like I said, I also love playing with my homies and getting to have fun with them. All right, next question is, if you could create a new holiday, what would you celebrate? I think it would be cool to have a holiday to celebrate like a music legend, like a Kurt Cobain or a Chris Cornell. I'm just going down the grunge list, aren't I? Maybe like music legends who have made a huge impact. So yeah, Chris Cornell, Kurt Cobain, John Bonham, all the members of the Beatles. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the Beatles, but they are obviously legends. Everyone from the pre-rock era to the rock, like all the genres. I feel like we should have like a music legends day. That would be so cool. Again, to reminisce about all the different music genres and how they've changed over the years and the most influential people. Like that would be awesome. Next question is, what's a technology you think will change the That's another question I already answered in the previous episode. What is going on with this AI? I use the Snapchat AI, but I'm starting to consider using ChatGPT instead. Come on, Snapchat AI, get your stuff together, man. All right. Um, Last question is, what is a tradition your family has that you cherish? So, for the most part, my family does all the the traditional stuff, the traditional holidays. So like Easter, Christmas, birthdays, Thanksgiving, stuff like that. But there is one holiday or dedicated day that my family does that is outside the tradition. So back in 2017, my aunt Debbie got diagnosed with throat cancer, and she fought really hard for a long time and then passed away. So, in a couple of years prior to her passing away, I remember her and I had a conversation about relationships and the kind of the kind of way that life kicks you in the ass, and we really related to a lot of stuff. And and she was a big fan of my drumming. She loved my drum covers. And one really, I tell everyone this whenever we talk about my Aunt Debbie. And to be clear, this is I have two Aunt Debbies. So this is my Aunt Debbie on my mom's side, just to be clear, because I also have an Aunt Debbie on my dad's side. Um, my Aunt Debbie told me that one of her favorite artists was Eminem, and keep in mind, I think she was at that time. I think she was in her early '60s or mid '60s, and that was really cool to hear um, from my Aunt Debbie that she was an Eminem fan. And she was also into ZZ Top and Leonard Skinner and bands like that. But anyway, to answer the question, our family has a Debbie Day. It's it's on the day that she passed away, and we do it every year. I wasn't able to go to it this time around, and usually it's me, my cousins, my mom, and my aunts and my uncle, and we all get to celebrate. So that's one holiday that we do that I think is super cool, and I'm glad that we do it. All right, y'all. That does it for this episode of the broadcast. Looks like we're coming up on, what is it, 44 minutes? That's a good run. My goal is to make this show go for at least a half hour because, like I said, in my opinion, podcasts should at least be 30 minutes or more, and we met that goal. Heck yeah. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the broadcast. I'll see you next time. Peace.